You know, we all have them. The people we share a wall with, or a street, or maybe just a floor in an apartment building. But what does that relationship really mean? Well, today we're going to dig into the Islamic perspective on neighbors. And let me tell you, it's seen as something much, much deeper than just a friendly wave. So, let's get into it.
So let's just ask the question right up front. What do we actually owe the people living next to us? Is it just about, not being too loud? Or does that responsibility go way further? It's a simple question, but the answer really reveals a lot about our character. Okay, so here's the first huge idea we need to grasp. In Islam, how you act towards your neighbor isn't just about being polite or having good manners. Nope. It's seen as a direct, visible reflection of your faith in God. This teaching from the Prophet Muhammad just cuts right to the chase, doesn't it? It's not just a nice suggestion. It's saying that in God's eyes, being a good neighbor is a really, really big deal. And notice the standard it sets. To be considered the best person, you first have to be the best for your neighbor. That's a challenge. And this right here really hammers the point home. There's just no separating what you believe from how you act. According to these teachings, you can't really claim to be a person of faith if that belief doesn't show up in actual, tangible kindness to the people living right beside you. Your actions are the evidence. And wow, this one takes it to a whole other level. It's not just about not causing problems. It's about active, genuine empathy. I mean, the language is so strong. It says you literally can't be a true believer unless you want the same good things for your neighbor that you want for yourself. It's basically the golden rule, but framed as an absolute bedrock requirement of faith. All right, so if being a good neighbor is such a huge part of faith, what does that actually look like day to day? Well, the teachings get pretty specific on the do's and don'ts. This lays it out perfectly. Think of it like two sides of the same coin. On one hand, you have a positive duty. You've got to actively show respect. But on the other hand, you have a clear rule of what not to do. Don't be a source of trouble. Don't be that guy. And both of these are tied directly to the idea of what it means to believe in God. Now, you might be thinking, okay, got it. Be nice to the people in the house next door. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Islamic definition of a neighbor is way, way bigger than you might think. This verse from the Qur'an itself spells it out. It specifically makes a point to include neighbors who are your relatives and neighbors who are complete strangers. But look, it goes even further. It mentions companions and travelers too. So this responsibility, it isn't limited by family ties or property lines at all. And you can see just how relevant this is today, right? Your neighbor isn't just the family that's lived next to you for 20 years. It's also the student renting the apartment downstairs for a semester. It's the colleague staying in a hotel for a business trip. It's even a tourist who's passing through your town. The whole principle of being good to them applies. And if you go back to that idea of wanting for them what you want for yourself, it makes perfect sense. Of course you'd want kindness if you were the new student in a new city, or a traveler far from home. It's all connected. And here, we get to probably the most serious point of this whole explainer. This is an incredibly stark, no-nonsense warning. It's not just saying that being a bad neighbor is a bad look. It's presenting it as a literal barrier to paradise. The message couldn't be clearer. Making sure your neighbor feels safe from you, safe from your harm, your noise, your drama, is of the absolute highest importance. So, when you put all of these pieces together, what's the big picture? It shows us that being a neighbor isn't some passive thing. It's an active, daily test of your character and, from this viewpoint, a test of your faith itself. Let's just boil it down to 3 key takeaways. First, really think about that link between what you believe and what you do. Second, take a hard look at your own conduct. Are you a source of good for the people around you or a source of trouble? And third, treat respect not as some optional courtesy, but as a basic, fundamental right for absolutely everyone in your vicinity. And, at the end of the day, even though we've looked at this through an Islamic lens, the core principle is completely universal. How we treat the people we share space with is one of the most real, honest-to-goodness tests of our empathy, our character, really our shared humanity. So that's what we'll leave you with. It's a pretty powerful thought to chew on, isn't it? Because when you think about it, some of the people who see us most clearly aren't always our family or our best friends, but the ones who just happen to live next door. Thanks for tuning in.